welcome to your Vice President Education Workshop this morning. I've been in Toastmasters for 10 years, and I've been in almost every officer's role there is, but I've been VPE more often than any other. So I am here for you to support you in getting the most benefit in your experience as Vice President of Education in your club and being most helpful to your members, because I treasure you. Thanksgiving is coming, and I want you to know how thankful I am personally for every person that steps up in an officer role, and especially the Vice President of Education, because we all know that role is the heart of Toastmasters Education in the club. It is so vitally important to every one of your members getting the most value out of their membership. Oh, yeah. Toastmasters officers are superheroes. They really are. They go beyond what normal members go to in helping their fellow members. You volunteer your time, your intelligence, your skills, and you do get benefit from it. You grow more as a member of your club as an officer than in any other position. Taking roles at club is great, but officer roles really grow your skills as a leader, as a speaker, and a communicator. Thank you for enrolling as an officer. So what is a superhero? It's not just the fictional hero having extraordinary superhuman powers. It's also an exceptionally skillful or successful person. Especially skillful or successful person. If you're a club officer and your club is thriving, that means you are playing a fundamental role in that success. People who do this profound work are real-life superheroes who deserve our gratitude. That's a sentence that employs that definition of superhero. We are the heart of Toastmasters Education in your club. And yes, you have many responsibilities, but with responsibilities come benefits. They come growth and learning. Your primary responsibility, beyond being in charge of education, is creating those agendas, creating your meetings, seeing that plan in place for all the meetings, your regular meetings, your special party meetings, and those speech contests that we have coming up. What kind of speech contests are we having this spring? Anybody know? Marcia should know.
Of course, I'm competing in both. International contest and the humorous.
Yes, international and humor. We're bringing humor back. Isn't that wonderful news? So that's a wonderful opportunity. Club level, when do you start scheduling those contests? February. We have those meetings in February usually for the club level. The area is?
March.
Excellent. We know you know this, Marcia, so let's see if anybody else knows this. Division? April makes sense. And district?
May.
Excellent. I wanted to ask you a question. A lot of clubs have different kinds of agendas. How many of you are using the free Toast Host? Wow, that's fantastic. Now, I have not printed one from free Toast Host in 10 ages because I didn't used to like them at all. So I created a Word agenda that we've been using for a long time. It's color bands and it has all the information on it. And I always put the picture of the theme up in the corner, and I have the word of the day. So this is the agenda I've been using for a long time. But after printing it up last night and seeing they have this new agenda where the photos from our profiles is on here, where the pictures of the people filling the roles from your profile are actually on your agenda, that's kind of cool, isn't it? No. So just consider it that how many of you have free Toast Host? Excellent. Any club, I know bank does it, but if you're an inside corporate club, sometimes you don't need to have a website. I do understand that. How many of you who are not a corporate club do not have any website at all? Nobody. That's fantastic news. The other way to go is what we've done with the Bank of America Club right now with Hope Street is right off of International. They have agenda templates there. So if you ever, for any reason, need one, they're there. How is it for you filling out those agendas, getting them filled up, people taking roles? Are you having an easy time? Having a challenging time? I have been to several clubs over the last 6 months or so that only had table topics. That is a challenge, right? I don't want to shame anyone. I'm not going to shame anybody. But what does Toastmasters want absolutely in clubs on those agendas? Prepared speakers, evaluators, and table topics. All three. If any one of those, of course, you can't have evaluations if you don't have a prepared speaker. They go together. So if you're not getting prepared speakers, something needs to happen. What we've done is we have I always print the agenda for the next meeting, or you can have several meetings, and I have people write their names for any roles. So I print it with roles that are already filled on here, and roles that are available they sign their names into. I also have a sheet. How do you want to be contacted? Because some people like to be texted, others don't. Some people just like emails. So I give people the option. I also have them let us know what their birthday is. We celebrate everybody's birthday. The feeling is that we want people to feel that this is a safe place where everyone is welcomed and celebrated and we know each other. I think that helps people sign up for speeches. If you feel that the club environment is a safe space, often I think the evaluators are key in this. If you're giving really encouraging, as Toastmasters is promoting, if you go into pathways, evaluation and feedback, it's all about the idea that you need to have much more positive, prizing feedback than criticism. We're all masters at beating ourselves up, but if that made us masters, we'd all be masters. So we don't want to beat ourselves up, and we don't want other people to beat us up. Yes, you do want to give one or two suggestions from your perspective on what would make the speech even better. Absolutely, that's necessary. But that shouldn't be like, oh, I found something. No, the enthusiasm should be on how wonderful you are. If the enthusiasm is for the person having the courage to get up and present something, you're going to find them willing to sign up more often. I found that clubs that are really critical have a hard time getting people to sign up for speaking roles, and it makes sense to me. I think that's why I haven't had trouble in a very long time. The one thing on our agenda that's always filled up is the scheduled speakers. So I think that makes a difference. That's one suggestion to you. Another is that I also tell everyone in my club to gestate their next speech. Everyone needs to be gestating their next speech all the time. That way, if somebody doesn't show up, I've got a room full of people. Say, well, what are you working on? Who's willing to step in today and give that speech? All of us can have a pocket speech. I love that Agnes suggested that if you're an area director or division director and you go to a club and they're short on prepared speakers, come in and give a speech. Knock off a project in your manual or your Pathways Path. Great opportunity to get through. That's how I got through Presentation Mastery. I just completed Presentation Mastery. Thank you. And it's because David was going around as a division director, and there were always clubs that didn't have enough speakers. So I'd say, oh, well, I'm here. I'll give a speech. So I got to give a lot of speeches at a lot of different clubs. And what does that do for you? Well, if you're only giving speeches at clubs where everybody knows you and you know everyone, how confident are you really, right? If you go to new clubs with new faces and you look them in the eye and you can be reaching new people, that shows you that you're growing, that you're no longer so afraid of making contact with people. You're making eye contact with different people that are not familiar to you. So I encourage all of you to visit other clubs. If they don't have anyone signed up, ask the VPE or whoever's in charge. I went to a club, all they had was table topics. I said, well, my next path is humorously speaking. I could give an icebreaker. They said, sure. So I went and did an icebreaker. Please do that. That gets our clubs growing and getting more awards, and that's really important for us as a district, as divisions, as areas and clubs, that we keep knocking off those educational awards and show ourselves and each other that we're growing as speakers, communicators, and leaders. Do we all agree? Yes. Another thing that our club does that's a little innovative is we had a member of our club who every time she came to the lectern would leave the lectern with absolutely everything on it. Has anybody had that? What I did is I created a lectern folder. So what's in the lectern folder is I have a little thing. You could have pens in here, but what I have is the ribbons for whoever wins our speech contest or area to, evaluate our best table topics is right up in front. I have a spare application form I could hand to somebody if I needed to. I keep a plastic here for any awards people are getting, that I get a photograph at the end of the meeting of someone who just finished a level in Pathways or any other educational award. I have the agenda as a 2-page, opens up, leaves it there all the time. Anybody walks up can see it. I also put all the speaker introductions, one after another behind, printed super big, so people can have it on the lectern and read like this without going like this. I don't know how many of you in your clubs need reading glasses. It really makes sense to have it in big fonts. I also keep a spare evaluation form for those people who I suspect might not remember to bring their evaluation forms. And I have another packet with evaluation forms. I also have my Pathways Quick Guide back here. So you can put anything you want in these, and they're like, what, the dollar store? Just think about it, that if you have that issue that we had, where we're going, where'd the agenda go, where'd this go, where'd that go, because it's all gone, and we couldn't find, then we learned, let's go ask her. But now it's all in place. So just think, that's one thing. How many of you does anybody else have a lectern folder? Anyone? Okay, we're the one. We also have a guest book. Everybody has a guest book? Yeah. Anybody not have a guest book?
Guest sign-in.
Guest sign-in, same thing. This is really valuable because then you can put these guests in your information to send out your promotional about your club. We use MailChimp. Every meeting we send out a message with a meeting announcement. I generally write the message about the theme, the next meeting. You don't have to do this, but this is what we're doing. Just know, MailChimp's free. I think up to like 2,000 members. Nobody in anybody's club has 2,000 members, right? So even on our long list, we have several hundred people now that have come to our meeting over the years. But they all, unless they unsubscribe, and it's shocking to me how many people will open our MailChimp who haven't been to our club in years. It's just amazing, and they'll open it 2 or 3 times. I thought they must still feel some connection with us.
So you put it in with your regular mailing list?
I put in all the people who've ever been guests, all of our members, all in MailChimp. I import it like an Excel file.
That makes a lot.
We have it all together. We do have it on Free Toast Host, and I do send out group emails at times using Free Toast Host. This is just much more visually exciting. And I work, anybody that's gone knows that, right? Stephen is our editor-in-chief, so he always edits them to make sure they're completely correct. So all the information you get as a group email that comes from the district comes on Constant Contact. That's the platform. And MailChimp is almost identical to Constant Contact. So you can send out group emails to large numbers of people. Businesses use it all the time. They have paid versions. I actually volunteer a lot for a local art association that's a nonprofit, and I've been creating their Constant Contacts for years. So when somebody suggested MailChimp and I went in, I thought, oh my goodness, this is identical to Constant Contact. It's really not different at all. Once you have a template you like, you can just keep changing it. So that's the way our members know the theme. The theme's on it. We have a quote. We'll tell what roles we still need filled by that point. And it's a way of...
Through the Toastmasters site?
No, it's through you as a person and your club can create an account with MailChimp, and then you can import it through Excel, all the member names or guests, and then if you want to have a communication like a newsletter, a meeting announcement to your members, you can make them colorful, you can have a theme. If you like that, if you're creative and you like doing that, you like Linnea here doing PR, that is something you enjoy, then do it. If you don't, it becomes a burden. So just take these little steps because you're brand new as a VPE. It's a big group email that's just pretty. It's a pretty, right? It's pretty. How many people send their Toastmaster the agenda before the meeting?
I mean like a week before, so they have time to finalize it. Then the Toastmaster finalizes the agenda.
I never get it out a week ahead of time, but I definitely do get it to them before the meeting. I also send it to the general evaluator, so they know if we're short of evaluators. we generally, my intention, and we're 99% of the time, is to have the agenda completely filled out before the meeting starts. Why would I do that? Any suggestions? Not to waste any time at the meeting, right? To waste time at the meeting. Other meetings like Burbank does an amazing job is people walk in, okay, ballot counter, all counter, hands it to them as they walk in, so they fill up the agenda before they start. Right. So every club has their own little way of doing this, but you can also, as Marcia was suggesting, you can have an assistant. You could ask the VPM, hey, you don't have too much to do, could you help with the agendas? We have a new Epson printer. The ink is so much cheaper than our HP, where we had to replace the whole cartridge every time. I'm doing all the printing. Right. But you could ask other people to help with the printing. So with our club, I know that certain holidays, we always have themes that are, like this time it was gratitude because Thanksgiving's coming. So those are kind of pre-decided by the time of year. But I always ask the Toastmaster, what is your preferred theme? And if we don't have a Toastmaster, I choose a theme, and if someone signs up as Toastmaster, I ask them, do you like this theme or would you like something else? So I did give them the option that they can massage it, they can change it a little if they like. It's a little tricky because table topics, right? Table topics needs to harmonize with the theme. We don't want to throw them any wrenches. Well, I would think that that's true of all clubs. Don't we as table topic masters give people an opportunity to get up and speak, but we're not there to stump them. I don't think anybody intentionally gives people, does anybody give people questions purposely to stump them? I don't think so. One of the things that we do at our club is round robins. Yeah. Have you guys been doing any different things with table topics? Yeah. So like David will start a story and we'll have them all numbered, and each person adds a story, and you get through the whole room. Every single person gets to be a participant. This is all about mentoring. This is right on target with where I'm going next. It's all about new member orientation and mentoring. Those are the first two things. Are any of you doing new member orientation? Yes. Fantastic. There's different ways of doing new mentor orientation. We used to have meetings after the meeting to orient people. I did for years. We found that a lot of people didn't want to stay. They needed to get out the door. Things happen. Now I send a welcoming email. I send them information. I welcome them to call me. But I also assign a mentor, or I ask them to choose a mentor, and I ask the mentor to do the orienting. Does anybody do that?
We do the mentor.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah.
So the mentor, here's an opportunity to discuss with your club mentors to make sure that they're orienting their new member to everything, which includes these all-counter sheets, for instance. If they're ready to take a roll, which we want them to take right away, right, ballot counter, all-counter, we have a club, we've had this club sheet for a long time. I think Stephen originally created it. We have a record of the use of the word of the day on the back as well. Has a little dialogue they read when they're brand new and they're scared and they don't know what to say. Toastmasters International now has those scripts and logs on every roll. General Evaluator, Table Topics Master, all script, timer, everyone you want. They're all on the international site. So this is such a breakthrough for me. I'm introducing Hope Street. We're going to print out all these forms. They'll have them for themselves. They can have our sheet if they like, but this is kind of cool, isn't it? Check them out. See which ones you like. And absolutely, if you're the mentor and your person is going to take a meeting role, I, as VPE, often end up doing it. I send them a description of what the role is, and I send them the role sheet so they know what they're going to be doing. Because they're scared. They're coming in. They've never done it before. I talk to them the day they take that new role. Does everybody do that when somebody's taking a brand new role? I know it can fall off your radar, but please try to help them. Path selection. Anybody have trouble with guiding people about path selection?
Oh, that's earlier?
Trouble? Huh?
We're not ever. We're good.
Oh, we're good. So one of the things that I guide people with, like we went into Hope Street this week and they're all new. 22 people all going into pathways at the same time. That's all there is, right? Brand new, 22 people, yes. When I encourage them, now things keep getting better, and when we get into actually going live with the Pathways website, I'm going to show you some of the new improvements, just recent, very new improvements. But when they're going and signing in, and they send them their password, and they go back in, they're immediately shown where to go to click to go to select their path. They are directed there immediately, and they also are directed to change their password immediately, so that's a big improvement. And when they go in, they do the questionnaire, but they don't have to do the questionnaire. They're being encouraged to sign up for, anybody knows? Presentation mastery. That is the most common thing. When you think of the CC manual, presentation mastery is really right there. It's about public speaking. It has more public speaking focus than anything else. So if anybody has a question, they came to Toastmasters, they say they came here because they want to learn public speaking, what do you suggest? Presentation mastery. If they came in knowing they wanted to be in leadership, what are the leadership paths? Dynamic leadership and leadership development. You can look on your charts and see, because I know some people are adverse to doing an HPL, so they can look at levels 4 and 5 and see which paths have that, and if they don't want to do it, by all means, select a different path. There's effective coaching, there's innovative planning, there's lots of other choices. But what they really need to know is that 90% of the projects are the same. They're the same, right? There's only a required speech on the higher levels of the different paths that's different. Level 1, all the same. I have something for you to look at, though. So there's 2 things that we have out at our club, and you don't have to, but it's something that's a toolbox for you. These are the things that we're sending out when people first got into Pathways, and in it there every project, every path. So for instance, if you want to look at a path and see a summary, there it is.
I'll pass it around.
Yeah, you can pass it around. It's a very short description of every path, and then the project descriptions are in there too. Okay. So that's one shortcut. Another one is to actually look at all the charts. So for instance, I created this toolbox for Basecamp managers if they like paper. So now, people who like everything electronic and don't like paper, close your eyes. Close your eyes. How many of you like paper? Excellent. Okay. If you like paper and you want to track with paper and you're a Basecamp manager, you could have one for the whole club. This has every single project for every single path. So it starts out dynamic leadership, goes all the way through visionary communication. If anybody has a question about what projects are in each path, they're all there. They're all there. They can have their own chart. You could chart them if you prefer. If you're super organized, you like to do that. This has alphabetical for their names. If you want to track people on paper, it's available. So you definitely can look at that, Lance.
Yeah, did you create this? Or
Yes, I created this.
And yes, it's online.
And yes, Excel. We have an Excel version of this.
Okay.
The Excel file has absolutely every path with every project on every level.
Don't you need to do
And ARM Inclusion and Mark Richards work with me. I had the basic, and they keep enlarging what we can see. So now, as of September 12th, what happened on September 12th? I guess they didn't want to do it on the 11th because of the anniversary. So September 12th, they launched the opening of Pathways. You can open up every level now. You can finish a project in any order you like. Now, of course, if I'm talking to Hope Street, I'm going to say, you guys are all brand new to Toastmasters. It really makes sense to do your projects in order because they're in increasing difficulty. Starting from your icebreaker, which is the easiest project, they keep growing you all the way through level 5. Absolutely, that's an excellent intention to stay with the projects in the order they're presented. On the other hand, if you've been in Toastmasters for 30 years, and you go, oh, what the heck, I don't really want to do blah, 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 and level 1 right now, I've been percolating on doing this project and find the project that fits for that. Level 3, 4, or 5, you can do them out of order.
You can do any level out of
Any level.
the projects within the level.
You can actually finish a level now out of order. Now, the bad news for you as VPE, and this is really bad news to me. It's really, really, really bad news. If somebody finishes level 3 and they haven't done level 1, does the club get any credit? No. Your DCP point doesn't come until they finish level 1. They could have finished level 2, 3, 4, 5, but if they haven't finished level 1, the club hasn't gotten any credit whatsoever for their project completions. So you need to know that. So please give them the freedom to do projects that they feel their heart's calling them to. At the same time, give them the persuasion that you still need to complete level 1, level 2. Now, how many of you, with our club, we've always given people freedom. If they had their CC manual or 10 speeches, I'd always encourage them, yes, start out with your icebreaker, but then if you really want to do a visual aid speech, go ahead, do the visual aid speech. You really want to do vocal variety, go do the vocal variety speech. You don't have to do it in the order in the manual.
And complete the whole thing.
Before September 12th, we had to do things in order, but I could see it down the road anyway. So I started working on my HPL before I got to level 5 in presentation mastery, but I didn't submit it till I got to level 5. And the great news is David did his HPL in the traditional program and had to do all those forms and turn them into Toastmaster. I didn't have to do any of that. I got the forms. They say use what works for you. Don't use what doesn't work for you. Didn't have to turn anything in. I did have a committee helping me that were people who were advanced in my club, DTMs. And we met the way we met, and I completed it, and it was acknowledged, and that was it. It was so much simpler than what David went through with his HPL. So just know that. In Pathways, it isn't as big a deal as it was in the traditional program, but it's still valuable. Why is the HPL so valuable to the district? Anybody have an answer? What's coming in the spring? Contests! You can finish your HPL if you take on sharing a contest. That's what I did last spring. It's a great service to yourself and the community. You get a whole team to work with you to put on a contest. Nobody gets hired to go put on those contests for the district and the area and the division contests. Those are all volunteers. And wouldn't it be nice to get some credit for it? That's what you do with an HPL. You get credit for that. So that's my pitch for that. Go ahead.
That tracking sheet?
Yes.
Where is it available for people to download?
We have it on the district website. We have it in the newsletters. Every time there's an improvement, like we just had another improvement, Mark Richards got to level 5 visionary communication and realized there were 2 speeches required for his level 5 required speech. So I just upgraded it last night. So there's always going to be more improvements. I am going to do my very best to keep it up to date. If your members want to have their own manual for this little binder here is from the dollar store. Lots of companies have spare manuals. When I put it in, I have a cover sheet. I'm happy to give it away to anybody that wants it. You can put the member name, your club name, and the website. Inside I have the tracking sheet for whatever paths are on. When I got to level 4, I realized those are really big projects, so I joined another path at that moment so I could go ahead and do small speeches while I was still working on the big project. So that's a great time to sign up for your next path. I signed up for Engaging Humor. I realized I want to have more fun. Then, behind the first tab, I have the icebreaker, because many of you will find out that you'll have members that don't get in on Pathways immediately, but you don't want to slow them down. So there it is. I got the project printed out. They can print it themselves. I don't care. If they want it, they don't have to print it. But if they want it, if this works for you, this is just a tool if you want it. I have all the evaluation sheets for level 1 in here. Why would I do that? Yes, people forget to bring them, right? I also have a separate packet for people because most of my members don't bring their evaluation sheets. So I have them there for them. They come to me and say, do you have an evaluation sheet for this? So I have them. But this is because I love my members. Do you love your members? Yeah. I want them to succeed. Another way to do this would be a generic one. There is actually, if you look on the evaluation resource for Pathways, there is a generic evaluation form that you could use for any speech. They're pretty similar anyway, aren't they? They are. You could just have the generics on hand. That would be another alternative. So if you cherish your members, you want them to succeed, you make the choice that you want to make for your club. Sounds like all of your treasures, your superheroes in your club. Like I have a VPE who he has named each of the Excel files with different numbers and names. So he has all his members with an Excel file for each one of them. That way, if they sign up for another path down the road, they just keep going. You find the way that tracks for you. The challenge is, if people are doing projects from every level, are they going to remember in 6 months which projects they actually did? How many of you have members that just click through on Pathways without actually finishing the project?
And that's why it's helpful.
Because then in Pathways, you can't tell which ones you've actually done versus the ones that you just click through. Now, I don't think people are intentionally cheating. I think what they're telling themselves is, oh, I'm taking an after assessment after reading through the material or glancing through the material. So they think the after assessment is after having gone through the material, when if they really read the fine print, it's no, you're supposed to get up and give a speech and then come back and do your after assessment. So I'm going to encourage Toastmasters to put up a screen that pops up and says, have you gone to your club meeting and done your project? Don't do this assessment until after you've done your project, because they're not doing it intentionally.